My name is Scott Sonnen and welcome to Recuper8. 2 years ago, the U.S. federal government requested that I travel the country providing training for state and local law enforcement personnel sent to our tactical fitness workshops. At these workshops, there was a consistent array of pains and injuries that were prohibiting their access to performing one repetition of the exercise skills with good form. A consistent set of pains and injuries that would not allow them to create safe structural platforms to deliver and absorb force. This also translates over to the occupational skills of tactical response. So if you have pains and injuries that don't allow you to express the physical skills or access the tools and communication of your occupation, then you have a severe detriment. Recuper8 inadvertently developed from collecting the biggest bang for your buck exercises that would restore mobility to the frozen sections that pain and injury had pulled away from your access. Now, this seems like a wellness program, but it's much more than that. As mobility is lost in a particular area of the body, it forces stabilized areas to destabilize, such as your lower back, such as your shoulder, such as your knee and your elbow. High problem areas for tactical response. I had to restore mobility to all of our participants so that the pains and injuries would not be exacerbated, and that's what most fitness is currently doing. It's reinforcing dysfunction. It's reinforcing that maladaptation from occupational overuse. Not just misuse, not just abuse, but overuse. If you are wearing body armor, heavy vest, if you're in 60 pounds of gear with a backpack, a helmet, boots, restrictive clothing, and then are forced to sit for several hours and then suddenly have to move at 100 miles an hour, you will become shaped by what you do the most. And when you're needed for fast response, then that shape will restrict you from accessing the skills that you've come to rely upon so greatly. So if you're sitting in a car and you're wearing armor and you're driving, so the head, which is 1/7 of your body weight, starts to slide forward, your shoulders start to roll forward, your tailbone starts to tuck, your knees start to rotate outward. All of that creates a structural dysfunction which will lead to pains and injuries. And why? Because all of those stiff areas that become immobilized force other areas to destabilize, and those areas we don't want to move. Those are the ones that are causing us the aches and the pains. Recuperating means that we are restoring mobility to the areas that are stiff so that the areas that are supposed to stabilize can return to their natural stabilized function. And that gives us the platform, not just for tactical fitness, not just for being able to perform exercises. It's for being able to perform any skill. Occupational skills require areas to be mobile. Otherwise, it forces us to move areas intended to be stable, like our lower back. That's why we have such a rash of common injuries that are expressed throughout tactical response, regardless if it's law enforcement, military, or fire rescue. So Recuper8 naturally evolved from me trying to give access to all of my participants, all of my students at every workshop, regardless of their occupational background as tactical responders, access to the skills in the workshops and access to the skills on the job. I wanted to give this naturally evolved program, and organically evolved from me traveling the country and providing these workshops, access to everyone, access to you. You do too much for us already. And frankly, you need to start expressing the duty that you commit to us, to yourself. The reason that I want to give this program away for free, and the reason that RMAX is so committed to our tactical responders is we recognize how much you sacrifice. We recognize how much your families have to sacrifice in your quality of life. And there's a way for us to give back to you. I feel a great moral imperative to provide this program to as many people as you can reach. I want you to feel free to share it with whomever you can. I know for a fact this will work. I also know that you don't need to live in pain. You don't need to accept that it's going to feel like this forever, and it won't. You can suck it up, and I get it. And I honor you for being willing to push through it. But this program will make that unnecessary. Initially, it's going to be uncomfortable. And I don't want you to push into pain. I want you to be uncomfortable to fight that pain. Take your time with the program. In 2 to 3 weeks of practicing this just once every morning for a few minutes, you will restore the quality of life that you deserve. You will unburden your nervous system so that your joints that are intended to be mobile restore their mobility. The joints that are intended to be stable no longer hurt and become injured. Give yourself the same patience and compassion that you would all of us whom you've served. And thank you for everything that you've been doing for us. I hope that we can do more for you in the future. Please stay in touch. Share this program as widely as possible.